Welcome to Sal's Classic Bodybuilding Archives. Today's read comes from Muscle Builder and Power magazine from January 1978. In this episode, I'll read an article in its entirety by Mike Mentzer titled High Sets or Low Sets. Mentzer explores the controversy, as told to Rick Wayne. So please feel free to put in your earbuds and listen to this audio-only episode while you're doing your cardio or while you're pumping the weights or driving to and from work. Enjoy. With Mentzer, no accepted bodybuilding concept is safe. No training truism completely beyond constant challenge. Mentzer is reminiscent of Joe Weider in the 40s and 50s. He is forever taking on established bodybuilding modes, turning them inside out, exposing their hollowness to public scrutiny, to public ridicule. It is my contention, he says, without fear of contradiction, that bodybuilding as it is currently practiced is the most counterproductive, least scientific endeavor that anyone could possibly engage in. All the muscle magazines purport to be scientific bodybuilding journals. Yet, you might ask yourself, who are the scientists on their editorial boards? Who conducts the scientific investigations? Casual observation of bodybuilders in a gym can hardly be regarded as scientific investigation. It occurs to me, and I point this out to Mentzer, that perhaps bodybuilders might be their own investigating agents, their own scientists studying new concepts, rejecting this, proving that theory. Mentzer moves his head negatively. How many bodybuilders have the capacity for serious scientific investigation? How many know the least thing about scientific bodybuilding? Just over a year ago, the bodybuilding grapevine buzzed with the rumor that Mike Mentzer had discovered a system of training that was completely revolutionary, that spat in the collective face of all established systems of modern bodybuilding. At first, most serious bodybuilders dismissed the whole thing as so much cock and bull, while the various authorities scoffed at the idea, convinced there was nothing new after supersets and the pain barrier blasters. But they were wrong, it seems. Recently, I took the opportunity to learn more about the ways of Mike Mentzer. I had just come from a Weider bodybuilding clinic with Arnold Schwarzenegger at George Snyder's spanking new Olympus Health Spa in Warrenton, Pennsylvania. The night before, Mentzer had been a guest star in Snyder's very successful Mr. Eastern United States contest. Now he was sitting around sipping iced fruit juice with Danny Padilla, another of Snyder's guest stars. I could hardly wait to tell Mentzer what Arnold had said about him the night before. Okay, the Austrian had muttered as Mike did his bit under the posing light. So he's pretty big. Maybe he's even too heavy. The guy needs more quality muscle. He needs cuts, striations, if he's planning to go anywhere. He's got to chisel his triceps from the biceps, his pecs from the deltoids. Surely that will come in the next few weeks, I pointed out, playing the devil's advocate. It'll come my ass, Arnold bellowed. You can't get that finished professional look merely from a low carbohydrate diet. He thinks he's so clever with that 3 sets twice a week crap training of his. He'd better smarten up and start bombing 6 days a week. Some body parts need at least 20 sets. Mike listened, and then he gave me his "forgive them, they know not what the hell they're talking about" look. That's the trouble, he said. Just because Arnold beat those other guys for the Mr. Olympia doesn't mean he has any idea what he is talking about, or that he knows anything about scientific bodybuilding. But people will look at his titles and his 22-inch arms, and they will assume he has been training correctly all these years. Arnold is great in spite of his erroneous training concepts. Reason and rationale have nothing whatever to do with what people respond to. I guess they won't pay serious heed to what I have to say until I walk away with the Mr. Olympia title next year. I reminded Mentzer that Robbie Robinson, Lou Ferrigno, Danny Padilla, and a host of other champions had achieved superstar status via the Pump 20 set system. He merely shrugged those massive deltoids and then proceeded to point out that it all goes to prove how much more they might have achieved with scientific training procedures. Before I can move on to my next question, Mike asked, you, me, Arnold, Sergio, Robbie, the champs, we are all the thoroughbreds of the human race. We started off with definite genetic advantages that a lot of the other people don't have. That is why the top bodybuilders made the grade. It has nothing to do with scientific training. We will see how much further it is possible to go with my methods. Arnold's idea that the more sets a guy does, the better is most erroneous. It is more than wrong. It is simplistic. Some people figure that if 2 sets can do that amount of good, 20 will do even more good. Nonsense, of course. The key to building big muscles is simply training intensity. This is backed up by scientific facts. The harder a man trains, the less amount of training he will be able to do. It's like the long distance runner and the sprinter. The sprinter always has larger calves, and yet he actually engages in only a small fraction of the amount of work done by the distance runner. The distance runner has great lean muscles, while the other tends to have more muscular mass. It's this type of running that prevents the sprinter from doing a lot of long distance work. But he builds massive calves. Hard bursts of training is exactly what it takes to build big muscles. Contrary to popular belief, Mentzer does not buy the idea that some body parts require twice as many sets as others. Generally, he maintains, muscles respond essentially to the same stimulus. I was going to say earlier that there is no man alive, no matter how fit, who can sprint at top speed for a mile. He's running too hard, too intensely to last a mile. The same principle applies to other physical activities. The harder you engage in it, the more intensely you push yourself, the less of it you will be able to withstand. I doubt anyone will question my judgment when I say that those bodybuilders who claim to do 20 sets of body part, who say they train 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, are not training hard. True, they are training diligently and long, but they are not training hard. There's a difference between hard training and training for long periods. Just as you cannot run hard and long, so you cannot train hard for 3 hours at a time. You can't train hard and long. They are two mutually exclusive factors, impossible to do at once. It remained for Mentzer to explain how he uses the set system. I liken my training to that of a sprinter. I train fast, of course, and as heavy as possible in as short a period as I can manage. Sprinters carry their body weight over a distance of, say, 100 yards in a short time, as short a time as he can. While I am not running, I nevertheless move heavy weights distances as fast as possible. The intensity is actually greater than the sprinters on account of the fact that I can adjust the amount of weight used. The sprinter moves only his body weight. I can increase my training poundage, the training intensity, at will. Intensity is a function of power input. You move weight distances in a certain amount of time. So if you can increase the weight, increase the distance, and decrease the speed, well, then you'll be increasing your power input geometrically. With some prodding, however, Mike did admit to doing more sets for his back, because one has to work so many areas there. The lats, the upper back, the teres, lower back, and so on. But for the arms, I do no more than 4 sets compared to the 20 done by the other guys. But what about the calves, I asked. He chuckled. The calf is precisely the best body part to prove exactly how stupid the 20 sets rationale really is. You hear it said that because a man walks all day long and his calves have grown tough and dense from the activity, you must give them extra work if you want them to grow. Extra work meaning more sets. The truth is that they need more intense training. 20 sets of this and that will only overwork them. The same principle applies to the forearms, although I have to admit I don't do any direct forearm exercises, even though I happen to have the largest forearms in the business. Mine have grown from all the gripping and the hanging involved in my regular workouts. A sample of how Mike uses this system seems in order at this point. Recently, I started my preparations for the 1977 Mr. Universe contest to be held in Nimes. Here's how I've been training my arms, the biceps. After warming up the muscle with chins or whatever, I go straight into Scott curls with 150 pounds. I do 4 very rapid reps, employed with gravity resistance slowly on the downward motion. By the time I've done that first set, my biceps were so weak I could not crush an egg in my hand. That's 1 set. That 1 set would have been sufficient, but I did 2 sets of similar intensity. The biceps were totally wasted. 20 sets would have been counterproductive here. The 18 extra sets would have done nothing to stimulate muscle growth. All they would have done was to tear down my energy and recuperative capacity, which might have contributed to muscle growth. You see, if you try to stimulate growth with 20 sets, you'll be tearing yourself down so much, you'd be using up so much energy trying to overcome the exhaustive effects of the exercise, there'd be nothing left over for growth. Bodybuilders don't realize that the first concern of the body is to acquire and reserve energy. The first thing your body does after a workout is try to recover the energy used up in the training. If there is some energy left over after your workout, hell, you can't help but grow. I am always being asked how it is I can gain weight and muscular mass as easily as I do. The simple answer is that I don't burn myself out. I never appear worn out. My muscles are rounded and powerful looking, and I'm always strong. All that nonsense about drying up for cuts. Well, as I have already pointed out, the correct way is to build muscles to full potential and then diet to bring out the cuts and striations. You take a guy who has never trained, put him on the appropriate diet, and you will see small, untrained muscles quite clearly. But then, as I say, nobody will want to try training my way until I walk away with the Mr. Olympia title. Until C.F. Smith and Dave Mascaratis begin to sweep the titles also. Both have been using my training methods with amazing results. Well, Mike might have a point. We'll just wait and see who is right. High sets Arnold or Mike low sets Mentzer. By November, it'll all be out in the Mr. Universe wash. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and share. I would appreciate it. And until next time, keep training.